Hello, guys. This is Lydia, the lifestyle coach, and we are ending eating disorders using nothing but your brain. And we are talking about binge eating, bulimia, overeating, food obsession, body hate, all the things that get in our way of living the life that we want and being a normal eater and being able to be present and enjoy and not have to think about food all the time and not be worried all the time about food and weight and all of that stuff that really takes away a quality of life that is so important. And so I'm really excited to go over this topic with another live feed today. And hello, guys. So fun to see you on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, let's go ahead and dive right in. We are going to be talking today about finding the right time for recovery. Because with an eating disorder, it takes so much from our lives, right? It takes so much energy, it takes so much planning. And a lot of times we're so exhausted that all the work of recovery on top of that just seems even more exhausting, right? And so there's usually two things that happen. There's the passive, I'm trying to recover all the time. That's usually ingesting of information. So, you listen to podcasts and you listen to videos and you're constantly listening to audiobooks and you're trying to research this and you're reading these articles and you subscribe to all of these emails. And okay, well, if I just had the falsity, right, that a lot of people think is going to happen is if I just had more information and I understood why this is happening, then I'll be able to get done with it. Like over time, like there will be some piece of information that clicks for me and then I'll be able to get free. Now, what our clients know who are now free of this is that's actually one of the worst ways, not one of the worst, an extremely ineffective way, but there are worse ways to try to be done with this. But that idea of there's just some perfect piece of information that I'm going to run into as, in these next 17 audiobooks that it's going to click and it's going to be like, oh, okay, like I understand why I was doing this and now I can stop. Hello, Nancy. So fun to see you guys on. Yes, feel free to say hello. Let me know that you are here, likes and hearts, and feel free to comment if you felt this way as well. So, all right, there is that one stream of I'm constantly trying to recover. I'm constantly ingesting information. That's sort of a passive way, right? Then there's real active efforts to recover. It usually comes from an event of enough is enough. Maybe you just got diagnosed with diabetes. Maybe the scale is at a new time high. You've never been that heavy before in your life. Maybe you're looking at, buying a new wardrobe because of this. Maybe you're realizing that, your child just, graduated to some new age, whether it's, into high school or, they're just going to, kindergarten, and it dawns on you that it's been so long and you haven't fixed this yet. And there's some inciting moment. Hi, Angela. Oh, thank you so much for letting us know how you're feeling. So awesome to have you here. There's an inciting moment that really just, all right, like now is the time and I've got to recover and I've got to do something. And between the passive all the time, trying to recover with more information, and then the active, like now is going to be the time, then it's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting because whenever we increase our efforts, then that doesn't last, right? It's like and it lasts longer at first than it does at the end. So I'll give you guys an example. With an overhaul of, all right, I'm going to end this problem with food. I'm going to stay on track. Then we get a new diet and we get all our meals together and, we make this big hub to do and we go on special grocery trips and, we read 5 books about it. And it's like, oh my gosh, intermittent fasting is the way. This is different than anything else ever. In the beginning, when we try those things, we might last 2-3 months, maybe even 6 months. We lose 50 pounds. And then after so many times of really that active, we're going to do everything, we're going to recover, you get exhausted. And what happens is that what used to last 6 months now lasts 6 days and then lasts 24 hours. And then we get to a point where even thinking about making another big effort to recover, we start binging in just the anticipation of on Monday, I'm not going to be able to have this. And so the amount of time that we can last with that active recovery actually gets smaller and smaller and smaller in the window. And this is where people get lost. This is that point of no return where, although we are the experts at what we do, the point where not even we can help you because nobody can at this point because you've given up hope. It's been enough failures and enough big attempts to recover that you don't even think that you can be recovered anymore. And then you stop trying. And at that point, like, nobody can be more committed to your recovery than you are. And if you've given up hope, then you're not even looking for solutions anymore. And if you're listening to this video, then you haven't gotten there. So there's this passive recovery and there's this active recovery. The other thing that happens is that there are markers in life where we say, okay, now is the time, now is the time. And as we're trying to like find this right time, because it feels more and more exhausting, right? So it's like with everything else going on in life, having like a big like burst of energy to try to do something, we want to be able to do it well because there's so much riding on it, right? It's like, okay, if I cannot fail this time, I cannot take one more failure. This has got to work. Like it's gotten to be an emergency. And so to be all in, it's going to take a lot. And so we try to find the right time to do this so we can do it perfectly, so that we can do it all the way, so that we can truly be recovered. And it goes like this. Let's say that your eating disorder started when you were 10. You know, parent told you that you were fat. You realized that you had a problem, that you needed to be thinner. You told your mom about it. She took you to your first Weight Watchers meeting. Then your doctor put you on diet pills. And it's just like, so that all started, right? The disorderedness. And now you've been doing this for so many years and you say, you know, you're in college and you're like, all right, before I'm out of school, right? There's this thing coming up. All right, before I'm out of school, I'm absolutely like, I cannot take this into the real world. There is no way that I'm going to graduate from college and still have this eating disorder. I'm not going to take this into the real world. I've got to be done. So we have that coming up and we have a big energy of like, all right, I'm going to do everything to get done. And then we do it and we see that it's not working and we get exhausted and then the scales tip. It goes from the reasons of why we've got to do it right now, of I refuse to graduate school with taking my eating disorder with me into the workforce, right? And then it moves over and there's a tipping point where it's so hard and we've had so much failure and we're really discouraged that we start looking for all the reasons of why it's not the time right now. Oh, well, I mean, I'm so busy with school and I've got all these finals coming up and I can't deal with the stress of this as well. And, you know, even if I gain some weight or like, this is what it sounds like in your brain. It'll actually be so much easier once I'm out of school. That's going to change everything. Once I'm out of school, then I'm not going to have all these stresses anymore. I've probably just had this problem because of the stress of finals coming up. Like I'm going to get out into the workforce and then that's actually going to make it so much easier to recover. So again, we go from this tipping point of why now is the time to why it's not the time and why it's about to be easier. So then we are discouraged when we go into the workforce and it's worse than ever. It's even worse than it used to be. And then we have another thing that comes up. Oh my gosh, I'm about to turn 20. I have to be done. I cannot go into my 20s with still having an eating disorder. And the same pattern happens. And then it's, okay, well, I'm about to get married. There is no way. I would never take this into my marriage. That would just be absolutely disgusting. Like I haven't even told my fiance that this is a problem for me. There's no way that I'm going to take this into my marriage. So again, big energy before the wedding. We're going to go on these crash diets. We're really going to fix this. It's not going to ruin the best day of my life. And then there gets to a point where you're binging the day before you get married and you're wondering if you're going to fit into your wedding dress. And then it's like, okay, well, once I have the support and the love and, you know, we're there together, like it's going to be so much easier. So I want you guys to really see this pattern. Over and over and over this happens. And the most heartbreaking part of it is that it's burning time. It is burning your life the whole time. Every time that you say, I'm definitely going to fix it before this point, and then that point goes by, like for instance, every single New Year's for the last 20 years, every time that goes by, you have burned more life. And it's this feeling of I've wasted another year of my life with this eating disorder. And then maybe kids come into the picture. I refuse to pass this on to my children. There is no way that I'm going to have this baby and still struggle with an eating disorder. And then You have your kids and then you're like, oh, well, this is just way too hard now. I've got little kids and I've got to focus on them and I can't focus on me. And then you lose your entire children's lives. Like we've had so many people come to us saying, I wasn't able to be present for my kids their entire growing up. And I refuse to let this take me away from being present for my grandchildren because they've lost a chapter of life. Our lives are in these chapters of events, these stages of, okay, I've got little kids. Now I've got grown kids. Now I've got grandkids. And the constant has been this problem with food. You fix lots of other stuff. You've worked through your trauma. You've got these great coping mechanisms, or you think you don't because you still have this issue with food. You've achieved so much in your career, relationships, and you've accomplished other things, and life has continued to move on. But this thing with food, because fixing this thing with food is very different than accomplishing another goal. We have people all the time say, well, I quit smoking or I quit drinking. You think that I could fix this problem with food? And the issue with that is that the ways that people usually try to quit an addiction, like smoking, drinking, drugs, whatever it is, if you put that approach on food, it actually reinforces the problem with food. So if you say, hey, I quit smoking this way, and then you put the common techniques from quitting smoking onto quitting sugar, then it actually makes the problem worse. And so it's very confusing for people. But they see themselves accomplish all these other things, and then your life is just getting burned. And each chapter just goes by. It's like, well, I have to be done before I'm 40. Well, I definitely have to be done before I'm 50. And it's another decade that's gone by. And so there's this back and forth. There is always going to be this pattern of why this is the time, and then why this isn't the time. So for instance, right now in the world, if you guys are listening to this live, hello, so fun to have you on. Or if you're listening to the playback, pretty soon to when we broadcasted this, we are in a time right now where, because of COVID-19, a lot of us are isolated. We're in our homes, we're in this quarantine, we're trapped with all of our triggers, our snacks, we're bored, we're stressed. And so there are two phases of what is coming up right now. And I want you guys to really do some internal inquiry and look at your own journey in this, because this is the same pattern. This is a new circumstance in the world, but with an eating disorder, it is the exact same pattern that is keeping you in this. So we've got some people on the upswing. Oh my gosh, now is the time. I finally, in my life, have so much time on my hands. I have just been so busy with my career. I've been so busy with everything. Like, now is absolutely the time. I've got to do something for myself during this isolation, during this quarantine. I'm going crazy with food. I've really got to fix. I can't come out of this quarantine another 20, 30 pounds heavier as this goes on for the next couple of months. Like, now is the time for recovery. That's what it sounds like with the big declarations on the front end. This is what it sounds like on the other side of it. When you see yourself failing because you're trying to do this on your own, and it sounds like this on the other side. Oh, well, this is just not the time. I mean, there's so much uncertainty in the world. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to have a job. And there's all these circumstances, right? I'm trapped at home. I'm not going to be trapped at home forever. It's probably going to be way easier when I'm back at work. It's just gotten worse right now because I have so much extra time on my hands. I mean, I've got my kids at home. Like, this is not the time to work on myself. I've got to focus on them. Do you notice how your eating disorder is keeping you in the exact same trap? Here's the time, discouragement, failure, and here's why, well, I'll work on this after we're out of quarantine. And it's another chapter and event of your life that if you don't fix this right now, it will be burned. You don't get that time back. That is one thing. Like, man, we have had clients get their health back. They've reversed food allergies. They've reversed medications they were dependent on. They've reversed, all sorts of things they've been struggling with, anxiety that they were diagnosed with when they were 5 years old. Like, they're normal eaters. They're able to recover their health. They're at their set point weight. Here's the one thing that we cannot give you back, and no one can give you back, is your time. We cannot give you back the 20 years that turns into the 30 years that turns into the 40 years that you waited to get the help that you needed. It is the one thing that none of us can recover. And it's the same thing with this chapter in the world right now. You cannot get that time back. And so I really want to take this all the way down to the daily basis cycle, right? So on the day-to-day, I want you to really see the pattern of your eating disorder and why it keeps you in this for years and years. If you ask somebody when they're 25 years old, hey, do you think that you'll still be struggling with your eating disorder when you're turning 50? Horrified. They would be like, no, absolutely not. There is no way. I know I'm going to be done with this. I have hope. I have fire. I'm going to be done with this. I know this isn't going to last forever. I might not have figured it out yet, but I'm certainly going to figure it out. And it's that sort of delusional optimism that it's a two-sided, right? So one, it keeps you hope, so you keep trying, and that's important so that you can get the help that you finally need. But then on the other side of it, this fire of knowing that you're definitely going to be done with it someday, that you're strong, that you're going to fix it, keeps you in this cycle over and over and over. So I want you guys to really be able to see this on the day-to-day 24-hour basis. So pay attention to this. You start out waking up in the morning with these are all the reasons why today is the day to recover. Now is the time for recovery. It sounds something like this. After last night's binge, I truly know that I hate this, that this isn't doing anything for me, and there is no way that I'm ever going to do that again. I'm finally hurting enough. I'm finally at the point where I'm ready for change. It's an amazing new day. I feel so much better. I have a headache from the sugar last night, but I'm just going to keep on feeling better and better. Man, I'm getting all of my apps out. I'm going to track my habits. In fact, in the next 30 days, it's going to be amazing. I'm going to get off all of the weight that I've gained from my binges over the past few weeks. I'm going to write out my goals this morning. I'm going to do my meditation. It's going to be amazing. Today is the perfect day. Today is the day for recovery. This is absolutely amazing. I'm full of hope. I know I can do this. I'm finally at the point where I'm ready. Here's what it sounds like, the tipping point. You're at the end of your day. You're tired. You're stressed. Your day didn't go how you thought it would. Maybe it wasn't as rosy or wonderful. And it goes into, okay, well, I deserve to just have a little bit of something, right? Like, I want to be a normal eater. Normal eaters are allowed to have, a dessert after dinner. Like, it's ridiculous. It's not sustainable for me to just be eating, lettuce and lemon juice for the rest of my life. Like, I know that I'm not going to have this problem with food. And, people without a problem with food, I mean, they certainly allow themselves a treat. And then we eat one, and then that wasn't satisfying, and then we eat another one, and then we say yogurt is healthy, and so we go and have one of those, and then one of those, and then one of those, and then that doesn't really hit the spot, and so we go and we start eating some sugar and some chocolate, and that would usually be off limits, but I just need something to satisfy me, and then we hit the bottom of the bag there, and we realize then this is the big, big, big tipping point. I've blown it. There is no way that I could call today a success. There is no way that today could be my grand first day of recovering. Do you see the crossover to why now is not the time? Now is not the time because I blew it today. This was a binge day. I didn't mean for it to be, but there, I just binged and I was out of control. And I've really got to do something tomorrow. I've really got to make this work tomorrow. This was truly the last time. This was truly the most painful. There's no way that I'm going to keep doing this. And so, since now is definitely not the time, since now is not a day that I could ever call a recovery day, then it's going to be a binge day. And if I'm going to have what I want to have, if I'm going to, completely blow it today, then I might as well have what I really want. In fact, tomorrow, I'm going to throw out all the rest of this. I'm going to throw out all the sugar in my house. I'm not even going to let my kids take sugar into the house anymore. Like, I'm going to get really, really serious. But before I throw all that stuff out, because it's really not the time right now, I might as well just eat everything that I want and have one last hurrah and just really get it out of my system. Do you guys see that cycle? Every single day is when this cycle starts going. And those days turn into weeks, and those weeks turn into to months, and then years, and then decades. Because your eating disorder can just keep you in this little loop of why now is the time, and then why now isn't the time. It's going to be better tomorrow, or it's going to be better next year, or it's going to be better once your kids are out of the house, or it's going to be better once we're out of quarantine, or it's going to be better when I have more certainty, or it's going to be better when I've lost the weight, and it's going to be better when I'm stronger. How much life are you willing to burn with that cycle? I just want you to ask yourself, is it bad enough now, or are you willing to burn it another year? Honestly answer yourself. What are you willing to still give to your eating disorder? What sort of time that you cannot get back are you willing to freely give? It may be with sadness, it may be with kicking and screaming, but you're giving it. There's no one else that can give the time of your life, the time that ticks away to your eating disorder but you. Here are a couple ways that happens. I'm going to go and do that thing that I know didn't work last time, but I really feel like I'm more committed this time, and so I'm going to do it again. You just gave your life away. I haven't been able to fix this on my own for 29 years, but I really feel like I can fix it on my own still if I just keep trying harder. You're giving your life away to your eating disorder. There's X, Y, and Z circumstances that need to be in place first. I need to be more financially stable. I need to be, have lost the weight. I need to, whatever it is. All of those things is you giving your life away to your eating disorder. So I want you guys to really hear and see and feel what this sounds like. Because what we know is that with the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people all around the world that are not giving one more day of their life to their eating disorder, because we have gotten them free of this. They're not managing their eating disorder anymore. They're not in recovery. They are people that don't have an eating disorder anymore. What we know is exactly what somebody who's going to be successful sounds like, and it is a choice. So I want you guys to really examine this and think about this for yourself, okay? Because the truth is that in every single moment, there's always going to be both. There's always going to be the reasons of why this is the right time to recover and the reasons why this is the wrong time to recover. And guess who gets to decide where their focus lies? It's you. You are the only person who gets to decide that for your own life. And so this is the exact pattern that will keep you in the cycle for years. And this is the difference. Literally, this is the difference, because we know exactly how to fix an eating disorder. We know exactly how to take somebody from 42 years of bulimia every single day to in a handful of weeks, not even having that desire, kind of not remembering what it was like to even want to do that, and never wanting to do that again. We see that all the time, every single day. That's what we get to experience. It's awesome. But what we know is that it's not about knowing how to fix it. We know how to fix it. It's about your choice of where your focus is going to be. So this is the difference between those who get free and those who don't. And we know this from a lot of experience. Is the ones who don't get free are the ones looking for reasons why they can't right now. Oh, well, I can't right now. Like, there's uncertainty. I don't know if I'm going to have a job. Oh, well, I can't right now. Like, I haven't tried these other 5 things. Well, I can't right now. Like, I haven't finished, this book. Well, I can't right now. Like, I always think about things for 24 hours, 4 weeks, 4 months before I make a decision. Well, I can't right now. Like, I need to consult somebody else before I get the help that I need. Well, I can't right now. Like, you don't understand. Like, I think that maybe this thing that I tried 25 years ago, if I do that again, then it's going to be totally different now. Well, I can't right now. Like, my body is unacceptable. I've really got to lose the weight first before I get anything else. Well, I can't right now. Like, I've never done anything like this before. Like, that feels really uncomfortable to me. I can't right now. Like, you don't understand. Like, I have other people I need to focus on my life right now. There's always going to be a ton of those reasons, you guys. And here's a clue. It will never get easier to fix this. Never. There will never be a time where the heavens open up and you're like, oh, I have all the time and the money and the space and the confidence that I need to just easily have this happen right now. What happens is it only gets harder and harder, because every time you don't do what works, you do something that you're going to fail at. And with every single failure, it gets harder and harder to fix. So that's what it sounds like. And what we know is that the difference between those who are focusing on why they can't do this right now and those who are focusing on why they can do this right now have nothing to do with circumstances. Never. It never has to do with resources. It has to do with resourcefulness. And we absolutely know this. We've seen people who have all the ability to get the help that they need, but their focus is on why they can't do it. We've had people in a situation where most people would look at that and be like, you can't get anything that you need. You're in an awful situation. And they're focused on all the reasons why they have to do it right now. So by contrast, I want you guys to really understand, for those who make the choice that gets them free, the people who actually get free from this and don't have an eating disorder anymore, this is what it sounds like. And let's take even the most extreme example. All right, so I'll share a couple of real examples with you guys. So number one, we had a woman come to us who had just lost her job and had just spent $40,000, gotten into $40,000 medical debt because she had to replace all of her teeth from bulimia. Okay? This is what it sounded like. I have no idea how I'm going to do this right now and get the help that I need, but I know that there's a way and I'm going to figure it out. How have you seen other people in my situation be able to get free? Guess what, you guys? After 33 years of bulimia, she got the help that she needed from us. We invited her in. It was never about resources. It's about her resourcefulness, her focus toward this. And now she's bulimia free. And she got a job. She actually changed careers to something that she had been wanting to do for a long time, but because of her bulimia, had never felt the confidence to do so. You've seen so many women who are in retirement or in $200,000 of medical debt because of their issues, or who have maxed out all their credit cards from doing thing after thing after thing that didn't work, and all of the binge food. I mean, we've had people who are in so much medical debt because they've had a heart attack early on in life because they never Google searched and found out that bulimia, anytime that you purge, can stop your heart in 3 different ways. Instant death. And they had just put their head in the sand and thought, oh, it's not a big deal. It's just me getting rid of the food that's unhealthy to have in my body. That's what they had been hiding under. And when they went to the hospital and all their family knew that they were bulimic now, the secret's out. Oh, well, now they found out through experience that you can have a bleeding ulcer at any time. Didn't happen to die that time, but it could have been instant death. People hide this fact from themselves. I know I've been there, you guys. Like, when I would get to like this place where I felt really sick and could hardly move after a binge, I remember being really torn by like, is it important that I Google right now and find out if your stomach can actually tear from binging too much? And you know what? I never did it. I wondered if it could happen, but in that moment of pain, it was always, it's better to not know. So I get it, but that doesn't change the fact of the damage that this actually does. So this is what it sounds like. For those who get free, this is exactly what it sounds like. I don't know how to get there, but show me the way. I don't know how I would be able to invest in the help that I need, but I know that I can't invest in my eating disorder anymore. Please show me a way. I know that my way is not working. I have proven that over 29 years. Please show me how to be done with this. You know what? I will do whatever it takes. Like, I just know that I cannot go one more day like this. There is never a better time than right now because I don't know how much longer I have to live if I keep on like this. I refuse to let one more day be taken from my family. I refuse to have this passed on to my children. Notice this feeling of drawing that line in the sand of why now is the time. It's that line in the sand of, I refuse to let one more day go by. I am determined to find a way to get the help that I need. I am open, I am coachable. And please know, you guys, like, we have really educated and smart people come to us. I mean, all the time we coach fitness professionals, like high profile fitness professionals, people with their PhDs, psychologists, psychologists who specialize in eating disorders come to us because they have their own eating disorder. People who have written books on health, people who have their degrees in nutrition, people who have worked as dietitians for 20 years, people who are, leading movements of health on social media and have these business, like, they come to us even though they know everything, and I'm putting that in quotes, and They do. They know a lot. They know everything about calories and macros and nutrition and the body and the human body and health and emotions and cortisol and insulin, but it didn't ever stop them from having an eating disorder. And with those very educated and smart people, they come to us, and the ones who get free, this is what it sounds like. I don't know how to fix this, and my way's not working. And it comes down to a really simple choice, you guys. It's always a really simple choice. It's, are you sick and tired of this burning your life? Are you sick and tired of damage that can't be undone, of time being lost? And if so, you can draw that line in the sand and get to the other side of it. But you've got to know the way how to do that. Because, man, I know, like, so many people who come to us, like, they've exhausted all of the ways that they could have done this on their own. And you can do that. You can burn another 15 years of your life making sure that you've read every single book on how to end eating disorders. But the fact is that when we teach our clients and the sort of results that they get after decades of struggling with this and in a handful of weeks being free, it's nothing that they've ever read in a book, and it's nothing they've ever seen a YouTube video about. It's the real data on how to break the cycle once and for all so it doesn't come back. You're not afraid anymore. It's not some magic that we hope sticks. It's a very predictable process of how the brain changes so that you don't have these compulsions anymore and the war is over. And if that is you, like if you're at this point where you're tired of burning your life and that decision, that simple decision for you is like, yeah, I've got to be free and I've got to be done. I can promise you that now is the time. If you're at that point of readiness, if you don't really care to fix this right now, then it's not the time for you because it's not going to work anyway. But if you have that commitment, if it's got to be now, then now is the time. There is no part of your life that needs to come into order before that happens because your eating disorder will never stop taking from you. Never. Your eating disorder will continue to take more and more and more. So you've got to be able to take that back and direct it toward you and the help that you need. And if you're ready for that, if you want that in your life, you can go to lifewithlydia.com/apply. Again, that's lifewithlydia.com/apply. And you can book a free breakthrough session where we're going to get you the foundation of freedom to be done with this all the way. And you're clear on exact next steps about how to solve this. That is a free service that we do for the world because honestly, we're just looking for those who are most committed to fixing this so we can help them. It's as simple as that. And it's so amazing being here with you guys today. Like, thank you for being on the live feed. I love our community. I love that we can come together, especially at this time where, a lot of us are at home and, maybe we're not used to being at home, be able to come together and to be a tribe and to really support each other in this incredible freedom. And it's so amazing to see you guys on. Hi Cindy, hi Sarah, hi. Oh man, so fun to see you guys here. All right, so we will meet you again for another live feed. And this is Lydia, the Lifestyle Coach, signing off. Bye, guys. Mwah.